Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today is Techniques Tuesday. Woohoo! I know some of you have been chomping at the bit to get in here and get things done, and today is a jam-packed day. I have lots to show you. So first of all, I'm still having some issues with my phone. It is a new phone, so if the videos come out quiet or loud, I'm still trying to figure that out. I think it's okay now. In one of my last videos, there's a lot of swishing, and the phone seems to have picked up every little scrape and scratch that I made, glorified. So I hope it's not doing that anymore. But if it is, I apologize. There's not much I can do about it because it'll be after the fact, and you know, to redo a video is painful. So you'll just have to bear with me if it's too loud or too quiet. I'm hoping it should be okay. I'm hoping it was a one-time thing. But let's get started. I'm just going to have a look at our book. You know, we haven't looked at it for a while. And we're almost to the point where I would say your first section is getting quite full. We have a lot of pockets. If you put all your 6 pockets or 9 pockets or whatever that you made, you should have a lot of pockets. I have that staggered set of 3 here. I added in my Twin Peaks pocket. Now this is stuck because I put it in too soon. There we go. So it opens up and folds out if I want to use it. I haven't put anything inside of it yet. Hope you can see all that. But if you don't want to use it, you can easily just close it up and just use the pockets as they are. And I just stuck a card in here. I haven't done anything with it. And then I have more. I might have put them in the next section. I think that's what I did. I put one little tab up there, corner corner tuck. Yeah, here's the other pockets, and I added things that were on my desk to fill the pockets. And so, you know, if you go ahead and make journal cards or tags, maybe you've done another collage board, a master board, you can certainly start filling them on your own with things. Here's one of my really large tabs that I made using the circle. If you remember that part, I stuck that there. I think that's all that's in this one so far. These 2 sections are pretty empty. I know we talked about this envelope, and I will get back to that one eventually. And just going quickly through here, the first section, I think most of that stuff is the same. Yeah, 3 pockets. There's the corner tuck. Here's my other one. Here I put the tab on the edge of the paper so that when you pull the tab, it opens up and you've got the writing space. Now I inked everything on the inside so it didn't look so white, and just left it like that for a secret hiding spot for writing. So this can be further embellished later on, and you know, of course, we want to start putting things in the pockets to show that it is a pocket. So that was one of the things that I did there with my stuff. That's the same old. We've done all that. Oh, I have a belly band here. I don't know if you did your belly bands, but we're going to be playing a little bit more with that. Here was one of the other tabs that I added to a page. And I think that's about it. So in talking about this a little bit further, oh yeah, that's glued together. I'm almost ripping it open. In talking about this a little bit further, you're gonna go online and see things that you want to try on your own. You know, don't rely on just my methods and madness to fill your book. By all means, if you find a really cool pocket, stick it in your book. And if we come along and do it later on, you can say, hee, I did it already. But yeah, feel free to go ahead. This is your techniques book. And this is where you're going to keep adding things and adding things. And if you fill your book full before we get to the end with me, that's okay. Go back to part 1 and rebuild another book. This Midori style is great because you can add and take away pages all you want throughout the book. And like I said, if you fill one book of techniques, just go and create a new book and start on the next one. It doesn't have to follow step by step in my order. The only idea was for you to make something, put it into a book that you know is just made of, you know, junky papers and things that you're not going to use, and then you have it for yourself. This way you're not tempted to give it as a gift, you're not tempted to sell it, whatever it is, it's your techniques book, so that whenever you're stumped on what to do on a page, you can go and flip through the book and go, oh yeah, I haven't made one of those for a long time. So, as I said, when you fill one book, go on to filling the next book, because this is a never-ending process. You know, I used to make jokes about how many different ways can you fold a piece of paper. A lot of ways. A lot of ways. So we will find that out as we go along and continue to fill our book. Now, the other thing, too, is I made mine from junk papers, and you saw that. You can see that. I didn't use anything fancy. And by the time you're done, a lot of times you don't even notice. Like, this map page looks lovely, and it's just a common map. It's not anything old or ancient, but with a piece of music book page and a little scrappy notebook paper and a tab, it looks nice. Now I can just further decorate it a little bit more with different embellishments, and you would never know that it was just a piece of junk mail until you turned it over, of course, and then we've got to do some work on that side. But the whole idea is, again, to keep this book for use for your own purposes and not waste your good paper, but it doesn't stop you from adding some of your pretty papers in here. And so I brought along Caroline's kit, and I think I had told you a couple episodes ago to go and have a look at her, sorry, I got a big mess here. Go and have a look at her kit, and if you were able to download it, by all means, download and print it. I printed this on a regular white copy paper. No, this is a little bit heavier, so it might be a 24-pound paper, but it's regular paper. And I used my Epson printer, printed some on both sides, and some are on single sheets. And she gives you so much in that kit, as she does in all of her kits. She gives you lots and lots of stuff, and that's Caroline's Craft Tree. Her link is always on my pages because we're friends, and we cross-reference each other, and we help each other, and we belong to each other's Facebook group, so on and so on. But she's got this in her coffee site along with lots and lots of other kits. So what I was heading with this is, when I printed these sheets, and I printed them on both sides because she's got lovely, very pale papers, like faint colored papers, so that you can journal on them, although there's lots of space to journal on this side too. But when I was printing them, I caught something in my printer and I hadn't realized it, and I printed several sheets with this black on here. And this one's not too bad. It's just a little bit, but some of them here are quite dark and very noticeable. Like this one here is very noticeable, and same with this one. So I'm going to take one sheet just to show you this really black one. And it is easy to fix something like that. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I ruined it. We'll come back to the ephemera in a little bit. But instead of saying, oh my gosh, I ruined this paper, just take a piece of book page and patch it. Patch it with your book page. So I've got a book page here. I'm just going to tear one out of my book. I'm just using a Reader's Digest. And you can probably find millions of these in your local thrift shop. And I'm just going to tear a small piece to do a little patch. Now, for the most part, most of the Reader's Digests from the 1950s and 60s are relatively safe to use. You may want to review some of the words if you think there's going to be something yucky that you don't want to have sticking there on your page. But I just trimmed it down now to have all words, no real paper, and I'm just going to tear a couple pieces. And I'm going to use this one whole. So I'm going to take the glue, using just a regular glue stick. On camera here. and I'm just going to patch over top of it. Now, because you want it to look like it's supposed to be that way, I tore a couple of extra pieces. And in this case, I'm not going to do both sides because this is going to be folded in my book anyway, and so I'm not going to see, you know, there's nothing here that has to be covered. But I'm just going to try and add some more to make it all work together, so it doesn't look like this piece was just sitting there and covering something up. Now you can make a tab, but in this case it was quite high in the corner, so a tab wouldn't probably work there. And I'm just going to add this here. And I can further embellish this page now with other things that are complementary. I can put things on top, I can put little labels on there, and this is totally covered up and you don't see that big black ink mark. And I don't think, yeah, it's only on the edge here of the margin, and I'm going to cut this off. So for today's techniques, I'm just going to trim away with my scissors this white margin along the edge. And it's painful to watch, but you're going to watch me do the whole thing. Hopefully you can't hear my scissors too much. Caroline, I love these pages. The images are so vibrant. It's almost like you could crawl right into this paper. It's just like a beautiful garden. I love it. Now, if you really want to, you can ink the edges of your pages. That's entirely up to you. I think the page looks nice like that. I don't think I need to ink it. And I'm just double checking on the other side, and I see there's a little bit of white showing still here. I could either ink it or trim it, which I'm going to trim it from this side now, just because I can see it. Sometimes when you print on the back side, it doesn't always line up perfectly, so you got to check both sides, you know, to trim it off. There is another method where I bleed coffee to the end of the pages, and I will show you that in another episode, but for tonight, for today, I thought I would just show you this part. So I'm going to fold this in half now, and as you can see when I open it up, that just looks normal, doesn't it? So you don't notice that I've covered up that big ugly ink stain. And it could be a stain that you don't like. It could be something that's not the right color for whatever you're working. You know, maybe you've got a collaged paper that you folded up. You can easily repair it by adding another piece of paper or imagery over top. So since I've folded it and it looks so nice, I'm going to stick it in my journal. And that's the fun part about doing a Midori journal. Let's see, where can I pull a page from? I think I have to go to part 2 because I think I've either put something on one or the other on both of those. So the fun part about this is I can find a page maybe that I haven't done anything on both sides. Yeah, this one's blank, I think. And I'm just going to slide it out just like that. And I'm going to slide this one in. Now, as long as it's not larger, it will fit. I mean, if it were smaller. And doesn't that look nice in here? So this is one of the other reasons where, again, I never use an entire kit in my journals because I love the element of surprise. I love when, you know, you're looking in a journal and you turn the page and you never know what you're going to find. You know, this has a little tab in here and there's going to be something tucked in here and possibly on the other side, and there's other pages. Now this has writing on it. I could cover the writing and leave the lines for writing, all kinds of fun things there. And then all of a sudden you get this beautiful artwork page. And on the other side, you can journal on it. You go further down the book and you come across the other side of it, wherever it is. Where did it go? There it is. And again, it looks like it was supposed to be like that. A little ink staining if you want, or further embellishing, and you have a beautiful page in your book. So that just shows you how to repair it and how you can enhance a journal by using some of these kit pages in your journal without looking like cookie cutter style, doing exactly what everybody else is doing. So that was my take on repairing a page and showing you how you can, with the Midori style of journal, you can take pages out and put new pages in. If you don't like the order where a page is, you can always take a page out and move it over. You have to be aware of what's on the other side, because you may be pulling out a page you've already worked on. So you may want to consider that before you take the page out, or just very carefully take it out and move it over as you need to. And sometimes you'll find maybe that by the time we're done, this journal is going to be quite full. And you may have to move a couple of the heavier, thicker pages over in order to balance it out a little bit. But we'll wait and see when we get there and see if that's the case. But it's very easy to do, as you can see. So I'm going to put that part away and get this off my desk. This is all the bag of little scrappy bits that I have sitting here to add or use in the journal yet. And I just keep a baggie in with the book for all the things that I haven't quite finished, and with the idea that I can either add it or take away as I go along. So I'm just going to tuck that back in the book for now. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was I wanted to show off, because I get to show off once in a while, my button cards. And a lot of you really liked the idea of the button cards, and I have the free digital collage sheet in my coffee shop. The link is below in the description. So I finished my button cards. They do have the stitching on the back. So these ones are more kind of a decorative embellishment. I may use them as a tuck spot and glue down two sides so that you can tuck something into it in a book. Or I would just tuck them into a pocket. Let's see if I can find a nice small pocket I can put this into. I think I have one coming up here. Yes, I do. So I can have my buttons tucked in here like that. And we might as well have 2 packs of them, because there's room. So I can tuck my buttons into this little tuck spot, this pocket that I made a while back. I could even put little tabs on here to pull them out, but they're in the book. They're a little bit bulky, but I try to work with making just very flat buttons to work on. And like I was saying, they could be a spot where you glue down on the 2 sides of a page and you have an instant little tuck. You can staple it to the side of the page and have another little tuck that's not glued down, or from the top you can glue it. So the button cards are fun way to make embellishments to add on to your journals. You could even staple it to the bottom of a flip, so that when you open this up, it gives you the weight of the by holding the flap down. But then you have that secret writing space as well. So there's lots of ways to use these button cards, including to be made for holding buttons. And I made them, doesn't this look fun? I'm just going to get these out of the way. I made them in 2 sizes. One is this, it's sort of an ATC size, approximately like a, like a trading card size. Sorry, I'm just going to move this out of the way. And I also made the full-size journal page. Now, when I did them, where's the ones I did? I backed them right away onto some cardstock just to give it a little bit more strength. And I'm not going to go through showing you how I did that, all of that, but I just used a push pin and poked holes through the buttons. Like, I placed the buttons on there to see where I wanted them, put 2 holes in for where the buttons were supposed to go, and then I stitched them on. Yes, I stitched them on with thread by hand. It takes a few minutes to do. It's not a quick job, but it's an embellishment that you didn't have to buy if you've got a handful of buttons. And if you don't, go find an old shirt that you don't like anymore and steal the buttons off of it. So there are ways to collect buttons, call a friend, go to the thrift shop, buy a bag, go to the craft shop or sewing store, buy a whole pile of them. It's entirely up to you, but buttons are pretty easy to acquire. And so yeah, I glued the paper onto here first and then stitched it on. But now in hindsight, because I want to be able to use this as a writing spot in my journals, I thought instead I would just cut out the button cards, stitch the buttons on first, and then apply them to some cardstock. So I'm just going to cut this one out just for fun. I'm not actually going to do it. What's nice about these large ones is you could put, a dozen buttons on instead of just one. I will do this off camera and then show you next week the finished product, but it's not worth showing you online. I'm sure you know how to sew a button onto a piece of paper. And all I'm going to say is with this is that, yeah, I would stitch the buttons on now at this point. Just take a piece of foam and a couple of push pins. In this case, I just used sewing pins. Get your button, put your pin through the two holes of the button so you have the holes where the button is supposed to be, and then take them out and stitch the button on. And then I just move down the card with the different buttons. I did kind of make a lineup of where I wanted the buttons to be, so I sort of loosely knew where I wanted them. So like if you look at this one here, when I put the button down, I stuck the pins through the buttonhole, and then I had the holes from the pins on the back side of the paper. So then once your buttons are on, I would glue it to some cardstock. And if you don't have cardstock, any kind of heavier chipboard or whatever you have on hand will work just fine. So just to give you an idea, I had this shoebox and it was on its way to the garbage bin, and I went, oh, wait a minute. Just a minute. So just to show you how I don't waste anything, because this would have just gone to the landfill or recycling. All of this becomes possible cards, bases. Now this had a little hole in it, of course, but all of this can be used for making other things. So don't be in a hurry to throw that cardboard box out unless, and this is just plain cardboard. It's not chipboard. It's not like a corrugated box. It's a shoebox. And so all of these pieces can be used. And yeah, it may sound petty and simple, but you know, I can take these apart and repurpose this cardboard. And sometimes I even actually like it to look like that. I don't even care if it looks like that. I just trim it up a little bit and then add whatever I want to add onto here, and this becomes a good source of material. Now this has got a staple in it, so I just have to be careful. On the back side of this one, it's got all these fun writing and words, and a price of $24.99. Like, what fun is that? You know, you can further enhance these by adding some ink stamps and you know, a little bit of collage and a label, and put a hole on it and dangle a little trinket from it, and you've got an instant journal card that's got writing space on the back. Now this has got a little bit of yuckiness to it, although I do like this. This would be fun in the back of a cluster. So it may be a matter of just adding a piece of paper on the back just to finish it off so it looks a little bit nicer for writing. But this just says, oh, look at this. This just says instant. Now, normally I would do this a little bit straighter, but let's just trim this down. Cut off the corners here. And this becomes an instant little flap that you can turn into a tab, or flip over a page, and you've got an instant little card that you can collage on, as well as a writing space. This can also be a notebook. You can staple a few papers inside here, put one big staple in it, and you've got an instant notebook to use in one of your journals. So I'm just showing you this because this is a great source of material, and yeah, I'm going to use all of this up. Hopefully I can show it to you in the next video. So remember what these look like, because they're not going to look like this when I'm done. And this shoebox came with 4 of these, so there's 4 instant little tags. And it comes with the 2 sides. All of this is free of charge, and you were going to throw this in the garbage because it looked yucky, right? So all of this can become collage fodder, and I'm going to put that aside for now, but it will get used eventually. But going back to my button card, once you've sewn your buttons on the back, I think that might have been a little spider web, I'm not sure. Once you've got your buttons sewn down, you can trim this, glue them down, and you have an instant journal card. Now you can make it larger, smaller. And I'm just cutting it with my scissors, but if you have a fancier cutting tool, you can certainly cut it like that as well, or cut it straighter than that. So once this is glued down and your buttons are secured and the threads are hiding on the inside, this can be tucked in your journal, or you can further sew around the edges here, and I'm going to do all that. I'm going to use these cards for sure. And you've got this beautiful writing space on the back. Ink up the edges, do a little ink stamping, put a little label, and it's an instant journal card to go in your book. So that's what I wanted to show you with this cardstock. And I'm not going to actually do this today because that takes up time in our whole mess here. So yes, you can do the same thing with the smaller button cards if you want. You can do the same thing if you belong to my coffee site. You have unlimited images to choose from. But if you want the free images, I have this beautiful collection of violins, and I'm going to use these in the book today. And I have these birds I just did. I have the mushrooms I just did. So these are all great images that you can cut out and attach to cardboard, just like I did. You can take a cereal box, glue it to the ugly side of the cereal box so you have the nice side, the plain side to write on. Or you can add a piece of paper on the back to write on either way, or turn it into a notebook. So that is just to show you again what you can do with the buttons and what you can do with the journal cards that I printed for you, or that I made for you. So part of your homework is going to be to make some button cards to put in your book, and make some journal cards to put in your book. I don't have to show you how to do all that. You know how to glue, and you know how to embellish. So that's that part done. And if you print some of Caroline's images, you can switch out a few images to put in your book. And so there's some ephemera that you can easily make to go in your journal. And that's to go in all the pockets and the things that we've made so far. We're going to make something today to go in the belly band. And we're going to make another belly band today in a few seconds. And another thing we're going to make is some more tabs today. Tabs. So the tabs are going to be fun. So tabs can be tickets. How many times have you gone places where they have drinks and you have to get the tickets, or you go to a raffle, or like to the church rummage sale and they have a raffle? At the end of the day, you can ask them for all these tickets. A lot of times they're throwing them in the garbage anyway. And in no time at all, if grandma goes to bingo, and I'm saying this loosely because I am grandma age, and I don't go to bingo unless I'm with my aunt. But if you know somebody that goes to bingo, they get these tickets all the time because there's different raffles and things going on. So if there's always a source to find them. But just in case you can't find these tickets, I'm going to show you how to make them, so that you are not stuck not being able to make them, or to have them, and to have them in the colors that you want. But I'm just going to take 2 out of the book right now and show you a way to use them. Now this is a bit of a repeat if you've watched some of my other videos that aren't Techniques videos, but because it was all part of doing this Techniques Tuesday, I decided to bring it back into this video. So just to give you an idea of how to use them, I might put one here on the side and just staple it in. I mean, you can glue it as well, but I'm just going to staple it. So this becomes an instant tab in your book. The only thing I don't like is I don't like the staple sticking up. My cart is just slightly out of the way, my new little moving cart that I have. You know, I never thought I would want one of these, but now that I have it, I really, really like it. The only thing is I haven't quite figured out how to maneuver my room so that I can have it super handy. It's okay when the camera's not on, but when the camera's on, it's a little bit crowded. So I'm just taking the pliers and pushing in those prongs because I don't like them poking up. I'm always the first one to get hurt with them. So now this is nice and flat. I don't have to worry about anybody hurting themselves. And I have an instant tab in my journal. Now you can glue them just the same. You can glue one on either side if you don't like the blank on the other side. You can have the tab on both sides if you want. They can also be a tab at the bottom of a flap like this. So let's just put that in there. And so we know that this lifts up by opening up that little ticket, and it reveals the hidden writing space. So I'm just going to push those pins in, prongs in, staple ends. And you can still further embellish this by adding things on top of it. But if you don't have tickets and you want to have tickets, I have an old duotang here. So what I've done is I've taken this duotang and I cut off a couple of strips. This is a 2-inch wide strip. Same with this one because I'm going to make a few of these. And then I made a 1-inch wide one, but you can make them any size you want. And I still have lots of paper left over. If you don't have a duotang, a file folder works fine, cardstock, a collaged masterboard, whatever you have. Use what you have. Don't go out and buy anything. But if you have any of these left over from the kids from school, or even a school notebook that has the heavier paper cover, those are all great papers to use. That it's just a little bit thicker. So that's what I'm using today, and the rest of this is going to go in my stash. And I will even show you, and if you can't wait for me to show you, go and walk through some of my other videos. I have a series on, or a video on how to cut up file folders, I think. I can't remember what it's called. But it shows you how to make these tickets in there as well, and it shows you what I do with this piece here. So if you have a duotang at home, by all means put it into your stash to use for this journal, and we will come back and use more of this up. So now that I have my pieces here, I took this 1-inch one, and I made it 1 inch, but you can make it 1.5. You can make it 1/2 inch. You just have to play around with it a little bit. And all I'm doing is I'm going to fold it. Now I don't even know the length of this. It's about 11.5 inches. So it's just over the standard copy paper. So a ticket is usually, I don't know, about 1.5 inches. So in here I would get 3 tickets. So I'm just gonna accordion fold this back and forth. And if you're not sure how to do this and make the measurements work equally, as I did here, oh, this worked out. Okay, so that's good. And using your scissors or your bone folder, this is my bone folder. But if you're not sure exactly how to make this work, you can always just decide how big you want your ticket to be. And yes, we're going to make some big ones. That's why I brought up this 2-inch one. So you could decide, okay, I want my ticket to be that big. So just fold it to the size that you want first. And then go back and forth, accordion folding, back and forth. Until you get to the other end. Now, if you've gone over, like I have here, you just take your scissors and trim it. And if it's too short, just cut it right off. So if this would have been way too short, I just would have cut that one off completely and just had 3 tickets. Once you've folded your paper and folded it in place, sorry, I'm looking for a tool. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. It's here, I just don't know where I put it. Oh, found it. Just your regular standard hole puncher. Let's go back to this ticket here. So I folded this with the long piece that was 1 inch wide, and you can make them smaller or bigger. And taking your hole puncher, you're going to take a little bite out of the corner. Not the whole thing, just about a half bite. Now, if yours won't do the whole thing, do them in little stages. Because that was quite heavy. Just a little bite, not the whole circle. And just continue to go on all of the corners. That one, let's make it a little straighter. Even the ones that are on the fold, you want to go to those little corners and take a bite out of them. Are you amazed yet? If you've never made a ticket, you should be. This is pretty cool. Now it gets better. Okay, the end is done. Let's have a look here. Can you see all of the tickets are done right to the end? So there are your tickets. Now you can go to your sewing machine and don't put any thread in there and stitch through this, and you will have perforated lines to tear off a ticket if you want to make them terrible ticket. Terrible. Not terrible. Tearingable. Not terrible. I mean, you could make terrible tickets, but I think these look pretty good. So you've got your tickets, and you can make them perforated so that you can easily tear them. You can use them in any length you want. You can have a length of 3, you can have a length of 6, depending on the size of your paper. You can even glue 2 lengths together, so you have just twice as many. You can just put a little patch to glue 2 pieces together and continue, so you can make your own roll of tickets if you want. The fun part about this is it's a blank slate. Aside from the fact that it had writing on the other side, it's a blank slate. So you can tear this off and make it a label. You can collage this whole piece. You can put words of your choice on here. So instead of it where it says keep this coupon, you can say this coupon gets you a date, or this coupon is a ticket to paradise, or all kinds of things that you can write on these tickets. Love, dreams, happiness. It could be a ticket to life. So there's all kinds of things that you can write on, and you don't have to say just keep this coupon. Or this is my favorite, is when they say, and I've said this, wrong box. When they say on them, here, I got to find one for you first to totally say it the right way. Just because I want to say it, I won't find one, right? Oh, here we go. This ticket says, admit 1. I like taking the 1 away and say, admit nothing. So you can have some fun with that as well. Sorry I wasted your time on that little tidbit, but it was just my way of doing it. So yeah, the tickets can be different sizes. I have some in my box here, and they are perforated because I did run them through the sewing machine. And some of them are just little manila folder tickets that are in here. So these get used all the time, and they're easy to make, so don't go out and buy them if you don't have them. But if grandma does go to bingo and she can get you all these fun colors, well, that's great. Then give grandma a call, because that gives grandma purpose, and she loves doing anything for her grandkids, and you know that. Back to that one in a second, but since I have it out, we can dress these coupons up by adding something as simple as a butterfly onto it, little words of inspiration, a couple of threads. So in no time at all, you can change the look of your little ticket. So these tickets, now that I've done the larger size, it's the same thing. You can snip out the corners, just take a little bite out of the corners on all sides. This one's a little easier to do because there's not as many. And you can use them whole or individually. And just like that, I have 4 tickets put together. So if I wanted, I can just tear this one off, and you can collage on them. I didn't do the greatest job of tearing it off. It's probably nicer if I perforate them first a little bit, because I tore it a little bit off. But you can collage on them. You can further enhance them. I would collage on the other side where I've got writing, where it was a used file folder, and then leave this blank for journaling on. But these things would fit very nicely into your journal. Let's take the little one too and find a pocket that we can add this into. Sure, right? My pockets are all, oh, here we go. Okay, so I have this little one here, and that tucks inside. There we go. So I can add a ticket in here, and a ticket in here. They'll look much nicer when they're decorated a little bit more. That's a little bit big, so I think I'll just put the little ticket there. Let's see what else I've got. That's a big pocket. I could tuck one in here. And so on and so on. There's lots of places. I can again use it as a flip to weigh down the flap of this paper. But I don't want to do the same thing on every little piece, so I will do something different. But also they are great for using as a tab, because they have a clean slate. You can do whatever you want to them to decorate them up. I like this gray page. Let's put one down here. And close the flaps on these. And I have another ticket that's just waiting for something. Now, ideally, if you were going to stamp on it or write on it, you might want to do it before you attach the ticket. But I'm just going to add some lace or trim. Let's see, I've got some lace sitting right here on the table. This has got a little flower on it. This is just a little end piece of a ruffle that I'm using, and I'm just going to staple it for the sake of putting it on here, but I would probably glue it on. Actually, I'm going to glue it on because I do want it to look nice. And on camera, I hope you can't hear that. Well, my glue goes down to the... It's almost there. Okay, wait, one more second. I want to do one more thing. I see a piece of this lace here. I'm just going to cut off a piece first. and put my glue on here and glue that down first. I could have also used my hot glue gun because it is here. So this becomes a base now. This ticket becomes a base to hold other stuff on it. So you see, I just took a scrap of lace, a scrap of a ruffle that I had sitting here, and just so you get a good view, I've just glued it onto the page, and so this will just sit nice. It's on the edge enough that it's not going to cause much bulk in the book, and it looks really cute when it's closed up. I hope you can see that. So that gives you some other options for decorating your tabs. So that's what I wanted to show you with making tabs, except we're going to turn one of them into a belly band. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that other long strip. Let's see, we want to work in the same book, right? Ooh, this is nice and blank, and it's got a matching gray page over there. And I did not plan this. I did not plan it at all. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this piece of cardstock so that it fits on the page. Yeah, just slightly. Okay, so now normally I would do a proper measurement, but for the sake of this video I will trim it off after. But this by itself can be a tag by just snipping off the two corners at the top. It could be a round cornered label by using your label, your corner punch, or hand round cornering it. Or it can be another ticket by just taking a little bite out of each of the corners with your, just think of the coupons that you can make. Except I'm not doing a very good job of this. Just think of the coupons you can make for different occasions now, because you can make your own coupons. So you can do individual ones as well. So instant ticket. And then this long one, I'm going to just gently fold it into ticket shape. I'm going to fold it into 3. Again, I don't really measure. I kind of hope that I've got it close enough. If you want to be more precise, then just go and take your ruler and do the measurements, do the calculations. But for me, it's just as easy to just pre-fold it and hope for the best. It's just paper. I watched a video today. Somebody said it's just paper, and I thought, yeah, that's right. It's just paper. And the fun part about it is if you made a mistake, you can just collage over it or turn it into something else. Or sometimes a happy accident happens. So now I'm going to take a bite out of all those corners, just like we did in the other tickets. And if you wanted to decorate it, this would be the time to decorate it and add all different kinds of things in here. You can use these individual tickets to be a collage in itself and add images and all kinds of fun things down the page. And then just staple or glue. In this case, I'm going to staple because I have my stapler handy. And I do like the look, the security and the look of the staples on there. 2 at the top. And if you have a roll of tickets, like real tickets, you can do this with the real tickets too. And 2 at the bottom. Pushing all my prongs in. and I have an instant belly band to go in my book. So I can now tuck things behind here. I can take some lace and some trims and whatever I have and create a collage for each section if I want. Let's do that. So this could all be glued down, and I like the shabby look, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It just gets glued down. And I've got my collection of butterflies here. So I can glue a butterfly down. What else have I got in here? Got this smaller butterfly can go up here. And I've got a larger butterfly here that can go down here. So with, you know, further with a little label or another little ticket on top, you can create a label and you still have a functioning belly band underneath to tuck more items in. So this is just, I'm not going to finish gluing it, but I will glue it afterwards, but it's just an idea to give you some more ideas of what you can do with it. I can further this, add more to this by adding the doily underneath. But we always have to be remembering that the more thickness we put in here, the thicker and bulkier our pages are going to get. But I can change it up all different kinds of ways. I can, you know, I'm just using butterflies because it was handy, but I could certainly put birds or flowers or any kind of thing like that to add in as a complementary piece. Maybe this doily's a little overpowering, so it can go. I seem to like the larger butterflies towards the bottom, but there's another idea for you right there. So without doing much effort, you can see how you can change this ticket and create little clusters within the ticket. Another thing you can do is, yes, have a continuous flow of tickets by patching them together by gluing a piece of book page on the back and on the front, and make yourself a continuous flow of tickets, and create little collages. Create little collages with whatever scraps you have left on your desk at the end of the day. And if you continue to do that and just fold them up, in no time at all, you'll have a collection that you can cut out wherever you want and use as a spot embellishment. You can use it as a tuck spot. You can use it on the outside of a pocket to further decorate a pocket. You know, we've made a lot of pockets back here that have nothing on them so far, so why not take a ticket and put it in front and just further enhance it with some more items like a piece of lace. And put a butterfly in the corner. And you've got a nice little writing spot, so you can use it as a label or still as a ticket, or further embellish it with other things on top of that. You can also just glue it on 3 sides and make it a pocket and be able to tuck stuff into the pocket. So that's tickets. So we've done a lot today already so far, right? We're not done. We're going to do one more thing. I'm going to show you what we're going to put into a belly band. So wherever that belly band is, I'm going to leave the book open on that page. Where did I put it now? Oh, here it is. Okay. Because I think I like this, so I think I'm going to keep it this way. And we're going to go on to the next little thing that I have planned here. So if you've been following my Thelma Made Me Do It, I forgot to show you in those videos. She left me a huge pile of stuff. And one of the things she left me that didn't make the cut for the video I was doing was she left me this orchid book. And it's a beautiful book. And I'm going to use it all up. So it will go back into the Thelma Made Me Do It selection. But it has beautiful imagery in here. Huge, huge flowers. It's all orchids. And the colors are just unbelievable. So I'm going to be doing other projects in the Thelma Made Me Do It series, but it will also be part of Techniques Tuesday. So you will get to see a lot of that there. And to do this next item that we're going to put in our pockets, I just chose a blank or a page with just generic writing on it because, like I said, I don't want to waste my pretty pictures too much in my techniques journal, because it's more for showing me different techniques than it is for being pretty. But I mean, it doesn't hurt for it to be pretty anyway. So the reason I chose this paper to use, excuse me, one is because it's a little bit heavier, so it's not your regular book page weight. Also, it's a bigger size, so I could easily cut what I wanted out of this paper. And I'm going to cut an 8 by 8 inch square. And it doesn't have to be an 8 by 8. It could be a 10 by 10, although 10 by 10 is getting a little bit bigger. So just to cut it down, because I want to make it reasonably straight. And I don't throw this away because why? This is an instant envelope. Look at that. I'm just going to fold it for you. And then fold this down. And I will repair that scruffy edge there, but I have an instant envelope, so don't throw those pieces away. Everything gets used. Everything gets used. So going the other way now, I want to make this approximately 8 by 8. So I'm just measuring with my ruler and tearing. And again, look at that. That's an instant little belly band. Maybe it would go this way, decorate it up. It would fit in the page nicely too. So nice weight of paper. Don't throw that stuff away. So I have this 8 by 8 inch piece of paper. Now it can be pretty much any size, although 10 by 10 is quite large. You know, I know that scrapbook paper comes sometimes 8.5 by 8.5, so you may want to consider using that size, only because it comes in that size, and why waste that little strip to cut it off. But for the most part, you can have a one-sided paper if you want. You can have double-sided paper, which looks a little bit nicer in the end. Or you can have one-sided and decorate the inside as you wish. So all I'm doing with this 8 by 8 piece of paper is I'm folding it in half, and it doesn't matter which way you fold it in half, because either way it's going to be 4 by 8 because it was square-ish. Okay, so I folded it like that, and it opens up like a book. Now I can leave it like that, but the whole idea is to now open it up again. And the fold is here, sort of like, you know, the mountain. Is that how they describe it? A mountain, not a valley. And you're going to fold part of this up, not quite a third. You can play around with it a little bit while you're doing it to see. And as long as you have at least one straight edge, your fold should fold nicely. And take your bone folder and fold it nice and flat. And then fold it back up in half again. So now you have this little booklet with two pockets. One over here, or a tuck spot, I guess. One over here and one over here. So you can now decorate this. You can glue this shut. Have a place to write on in the inside. You can fold this, make a little cut, you know, like the little rounded cut on the top, a thumb notch or whatever, and make it into a pocket by gluing the sides down and gluing the bottom down, and you then have a pocket here, a pocket in the center, and a pocket on the back. So there's so many different ways you can fold this and how you can actually use it. But for what I want to do today, I want to turn it into a little booklet. So I'm just going to open it up, and depending on where you want the fold to be for where you're going to put it in your journal, I'm just going to take the top corner and just fold it down, not right to the fold. So it's just a little ways down. Just like when we did pockets for our journal. Actually, I see I should have kept in mind this thing. So I'm going to fold it a little bit higher so that it doesn't interfere with that pocket on the other side. Straight. But I'm not going to fold both. I'm just going to fold the one. You can fold both, by all means. You certainly can fold both. But in this case, I'm only going to fold the one. So you sort of see my lines there a little bit. So this is where you want to decide. If you were working with one side being white, of course, you may want to decorate it, or at least decorate the part that's going to show, because you can still glue this all closed, have a pocket here, and a pocket on the back. But I want to turn this into a booklet today, so I'm going to ink this up so you can see the edges, because it is white. So I'm just taking my ink and I'm just going to run it across here, just so you can see. Because I know it's sometimes not easy to see this. And my ink pad is pretty dry right now, so it's not too juicy to do this right from the ink pad. And this is the only reason I'm inking the edges, is so that you'll be able to see the edges pretty good. Now, to fold this back up again, you can see where I've folded the paper over. You can see I have a pocket here and a pocket on the back side. And I want to leave mine open. So I can either glue this flap closed and make it into an actual pocket, or leave it open as a tuck. And I'm going to choose to leave it open. And this little flap on the inside, again, you can use it as a writing space. In this case, this is a perfect little writing space, so I'm going to leave it as it is. But I did bring some blank paper to the table. Now this is 8.5 by 11 paper, so it's a little bit bigger, because this is only 4 inches if I fold this in half. So I'm going to fold it in half for now, just to show you in this video. And I'm going to do 2 of them. Now you could do an assortment of paper, you can use scrappy paper, but this was handy, so I've done 2 of them here. Just folding them in half, and I'm doing them one at a time, so that if you make a mistake, you're not ruining everything. I'm just tucking it in the book. Okay, so I'm tucking it in so it's a little bit inside the book. Can you see my fingers here? Just so it's a little bit inside the book, not right to the bottom. And I'm closing it closed. And I'm going to pull it up actually just a little bit more, about a 1/2 inch, okay? And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up to the folded edge. And you can either draw a line, let's see, where's the folded edge? There it is. Okay, so you can either draw a line like this, and then you can draw a line to cut off the edge part. You can also tear, which is what I normally do, is tear. But the reason I'm showing you that is so, let's do one more little line, and that's this line up at the top here. So you can see where it's supposed to be, but you want to cut now on the inside of the line. So I'm going to cut this way, and I'm going to cut along the inside, because you don't want the pen lines to show, right? And I'm going to cut off the pen mark there and finish cutting off the pen mark here. So this now will fit inside my book to make a notebook. So let's do it again, but this time we have the exact template of what we need. So I'm just going to line it up. And in this case, we've run a little bit short. And that's okay too, because the pages don't have to be the exact same size. So I'm just going to run my scissors along the edge of the paper here, across the bottom. And normally, like I said, I would just tear these. And there is that ink mark there, so I'm going to cut that off. And it is still pretty good, even though it's smaller, but you're left with this point. So now I have 2 pages to go in the book. I could have just tore the paper in half and made it a little bit more the exact same size, but I'm just using up the end of the paper. So I'm just going to put that in there like that, and I didn't cut it very straight, honestly. Kim, that's terrible. I'm not redoing this video for this. You'll just have to bear with me when I cut and measure and say, oops, then you know. So I've cut the 2 pages, so I now have 4 sheets to go in the book. I do have a couple little triangles left over, and we'll talk about those in a second. And so taking the second sheet, now again, I could probably just fold it over in half one more time and come up a little bit more reasonably close to what it is I want. Making sure that you are on the fold, of course. Yeah, see, this is a little bit better. I just didn't cut it straight the first time. So I'm going to just trim where the fold is, trim down, and trim it across the bottom. So I have 1, 2, and you can do this with any kind of paper, any kind of scrappy bits that you have, 3, and that other one 4. And this now fits inside of your little booklet. And if the pages are sticking out a little bit, like mine, I have a couple of little spots here because, you know, I'm doing this on camera and in a pinch, so they might be sticking out a little, but you can just always go back and trim that off, as I'm going to do now. And same with on this side. Now, if you want to get really fancy, you can ink up your pages, all kinds of things. And I'm going to get my waxed thread, but you can use any kind of thread. I'm not doing any kind of fancy pamphlet stitch. I'm just stitching it together by using a needle and my thread. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm just using a small piece. And get my awl out. And a needle. Now hopefully I can thread this needle on the first try. So I've given you lots of work today, lots of homework today. Okay, so I've just put a small piece of thread on here, nothing much, and I'm just going to make 2 holes. Now you can make these holes with a hole punch if you want, you know, if your hole punch will go that far into the booklet. I just made 2 holes, and I'm going to feed it from the inside because I can see it better, and then feed it back through. Oh, they're not lining up. You can do this with ribbon, with elastic, just like we did the Midori book if you wanted. And then taking my needle off, I'm just tying this in a little loose knot. Well, not a loose knot, but just in a knot. An easy knot, I should have said, not loose. And I have an instant booklet. Now I'm going to leave these tails long because I don't know what I want to do with them at this point, but I have an instant little booklet to put in my journal. And this is going to go in the belly band. So I can glue these pockets down. At this point I'm going to leave them, and I'm going to show you why in a second. And I have a little flap here that I could glue down if I didn't want to use it as a writing space, but it is a nice blank space here. I have a place here where I can collage and do something on it. Because it's my techniques book, I'm not going to bother to finish collaging it. I can put a pocket here if I want on the inside, but I have 4 sheets. Fold in half makes 8 sheets. That's 16 sides. Yeah, so this is a 16-page booklet, just like that. So this can then be put into your journal. It can be under your belly band as a little booklet. It can go in a pocket. It can be wrapped around a page. So I can take a page in my journal and wrap it around and just paper clip it in place using a large paper clip. I can have it completely folded in half and just clipped into a page using a, like a bulldog clip or something more substantial to hold it in place. I can also glue it right down to a page and glue down on 2 sides so that I can still tuck in here or make a pocket, and you open it up and you still have a full writing space. So there's so many possibilities of different ways that you can play with this. And just to show you one that I have done, this one again is just made of scrappy bits, and I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to come back to that in a second. And I'm going to use this as a backdrop so you can have a better idea. So this one I want to go on the other page, so I folded this side down. And I completely folded it down and collaged on it. I just glued it down and collaged on it completely. So I do have this open pocket here that I'm tucking things in. I cannot unfold it anymore because I have stitched it, and I stitched right through the pocket the same way. When you open up my little leftover bits here, I have a string just holding the pages in. You could also use your sewing machine and sew down here. You can also manually glue every single page in by just gluing along the edge and then putting it in and then setting the next one on top of it. So it's entirely up to you. I just have this guest check, and these are on my coffee site. I just have this tucked in here, but it is a writing little booklet that I can write on. And I have a tag tucked on the back. On the front, I have a bigger journal card. I have a little round journal card, and I have this little girl's image in here. So this can be tucked in the book. I didn't do anything with this because I do want to show you some paperclip things later on, but I just thought I would show you this just to show you another option of how you can decorate these. And this can be tucked in a belly band as well. And I do have one there waiting for something to go in it. So I think I'll just tuck it right into there when I find it. My goodness, these pages are getting filled up, aren't they? See, now I could actually put it in the pocket here. It's a little bit tight. Yeah, it's a little bit tight. So I've made it a little smaller. Where's my belly band? That's my second one, which I have to glue down yet. Did I miss it? Sorry about that, guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can put this in the belly band now. I can also use the paper clip to clip it into place so that I know it's not going to be loose in there. So I'm going to keep that one on that page because I like that, and I see that it's coming together nicely here. Eventually we will do something with paper clips, so just hold on to that idea. And I like the idea of not being confined for everything to be pockets. I do like it to be just tuck spots because I don't know what I might add in there. I might add something that's a little larger than the book. So having it just loose in the book here like this works nicely too, like glued, because we all come unglued once in a while. Yeah, so just tucked in here to hold it in place, and that's a great place to put a whole pile of papers just like that, and a nice little booklet. So that's it for today's video. Oh, these little corners that I cut out, again, great for tuck spots. That was left over after we cut up the paper, or great for flips underneath a fold where you can glue this down as extra writing paper, so these don't get thrown away either. And so that's it for today's video. So you have a lot of homework, you know what? You've been waiting for this video, so I made it intense. You've got to make tickets. You got to make a ticket belly band. You've got to make your little notebook to go in a belly band, or two, because you want to have one to go in the other belly bands that we've made. You want to do a folded page. If you made any of the if you printed any of the pages from Caroline's book, you want to make a new folded page out of that, wherever it is, you know, the one we folded up. And if the idea was just to show you the printed page, but yeah, I don't know where it is. It's in here somewhere. I don't want to waste too much time on it. So you can switch out a page just to see how it's done and remind yourself that you can do that. And the other thing was to make a couple of button cards, a button journaling card, and any other journaling cards with the bird kit, with the mushroom kit, or pages, and with the button pages, to start filling in some of those little tuck spots and pockets that don't have anything in it. So you've got lots to do. Lots of, and they're not hard projects. They're all pretty easy projects. You can easily sit down and do them in no time at all. And you could make a ticket tab as well, or a couple of ticket tabs. So use your tabs, your tickets, to make tabs, and to make weights for your flaps, your flips, so that you can have things flip up on you like a ticket. If you don't have tickets, if you do have real tickets, get those out and use those as well. So I hope you enjoyed all this. The book is coming along nicely. I'm going to glue those things in. I liked it how it looked, so I'm going to leave it that way with the butterflies on it, the 3 different ones. We didn't get as far into Caroline's kit as I would have liked to, but there's lots of possibilities for in the future. She's got some great envelopes and some postcards that we can add in. And these are just regular ephemera. I mean, it's not rocket science. You can cut a lot of these out yourself. I may actually do it on my own, and then, you know, you can use these butterflies and these floral elements in your journal as well if you've printed them out. This is a fun little pocket that you can glue into your journal. So if you do this ahead of time, that's great. You can use these to further enhance those tickets we made. Oh, that's actually very cute. Where did I put my tickets? They've gone in the pile. Oh, here they are. So they're almost perfect size to add on here as a little embellishment on a ticket. So maybe I'm going to have to play with these now. So Caroline, we will come back to this part so that you can see us this further in action. But now I'm really liking the idea of using them on these tickets. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I hope you enjoyed this. There's lots of homework for you to do and lots of things for you to continue and explore on your own a little bit and turn the book into your book. So carry on with it, and I hope you found this fun and interesting. And when we get back to doing Thelma Made Me Do It, this is going to be, this great big book is going to be used as part of the series Thelma Made Me Do It. And so there are some things that I'll be making out of this book that you may want to consider making as well for your journals. So again, I hope you enjoyed this today. I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week. Stay tuned for another episode of Thelma Made Me Do It later on in the week, maybe by the weekend, and a Thrifty Thursday, or a Thrifty Canucks, and it'll be on Thursday. So it's been pre-recorded, so it's done already. I just have to flip the switch. Again, I wish you all a very creative day and a creative week. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.